Live myself now. I'll see you all soon.
John, we need you in there. Yeah. Just gather. Oh, yeah. No. John, you stand just about there. Yeah. Forward a bit. Yeah. Come forward a bit, guys.
Kia ora. Welcome to the launch of Formica by Maggie Rainey-Smith. We're really happy to be launching it here at Good Books. My name's Amon. I'm one of the booksellers there, but I am currently in isolation in my bedroom, controlling the stream. We're going to pass it over to the Cuba Press offices, where Mary, Sarah, Maggie, Fiona, and others are there to celebrate the launch. But before I do that, I'm just going to remind you all that there is a link to buy the book in the description of the YouTube video. Here you can send messages via the chat on the side of the video, and we'll make sure those get to Maggie. And Maggie will be signing a few books at the end, and then more tomorrow at Good Books, and we'll be sending them out by courier tomorrow, so they should get to you early next week, signed copies. But big congratulations to Maggie from everyone at Good Books, and I'm going to pass you over to them now.
Kia ora, everybody. Kia ora tātou. Here I am. Sorry, I'll say it again. Kia ora tātou, everybody. Thank you, Eamon. I'm Mary McCallum of the Cuba Press. Thanks for tuning in or zooming in from wherever you are. And thanks to everyone who's already bought copies of the book, because we pushed Maggie into the bestsellers list last week. We hadn't even had a launch, so somebody's buying it out there, and Eamon knows who. So huge thanks to you, Eamon, my goodness, from your bedroom doing this thing, and Good Books for hosting the launch in general, and also for being able to pivot when Omicron made it too difficult to have it in store. We really appreciate that. So yeah, the Good Books team has fielded the pre-sales, and Eamon is sitting there now waiting for more online sales, which are happening currently as we speak. As we celebrate, click on that link below, which is wonderfully efficient, and I don't know how you did it, but thank you. So we're here at the Cuba Press offices, just 8 of us. We've got Maggie, she's turning up there, she's the star of the show, Maggie Rainey-Smith, the author, her husband John behind her, launcher Dame Fiona Kidman here, waiting to speak. And the Cuba Press team, which is Sarah Bolland here, Paul Stewart, the tallest one at the back, and myself. And we also got 2 Whitireia publishing students who worked on the book, Hypatia Orchard and Sophie Miller. Wave, guys. That's it. That's our little book launch team. That's all we could manage and fit into the place. So we're here and we're going to have a great time. We hope you do too. So yeah, fill up a glass like we have, because we've already poured the champagne thanks to John, and we're well on our way. No, we're not. We're very lucid. I'll just say a few words, and then we'll hear from Fiona, and then we'll hear from Maggie, who also read some poems, and then she'll sign some books as well, which is very exciting, because it's almost like a real book launch. So I've known Maggie for 17 years. I had to look it up, worked it out. Wow. So it's when About Turns came out in 2005. It was Maggie's first novel. Joanna and Richard Ponder at Rona Gallery told me about her. They were so proud. They held up the book and said, look, a local author. They were amazed by you, Maggie, and so thrilled. They had a signing, and the butcher came, didn't he, Barry? Turned up in his shorts and his apron with a big machete thing on the front. Anyway, I was absolutely in awe of Maggie, because there she had a book out. I didn't yet. I was still writing my novel. And I have to say, a bit jealous. But anyway, subsequently, after being shown the book, we met in that bookshop, and thus become, bookshops are very important meeting places. And that thus began a long and fruitful friendship. Maggie and I edited the anthology of Eastbourne Writing together with Anne Manchester, and then I published her excellent novel Daughters of Mycenae under the Markero Press imprint, which became amazingly a bestseller in Greece, published by Kedros. I still can't, kind of work out how that happened, but somehow we got it into the Greek market. And now this, Maggie's amazing poetry collection, her very first, amazingly. Can we see? Look, there it is. Isn't it great? Lovely cover. It's been a long time coming, I have to say. She's been publishing poems for years online and anthologies and journals, but never before gathered them into her own collection. Have you? Incredible that hasn't happened. Yep. And even then, it was not a straightforward thing. So we talked about it. Maggie sort of said she had a manuscript happening, and she kind of offered it to me, and then she wasn't sure, and had another think and went back to it. And then when we finally got back to it, suddenly there was this thing called COVID in the way, disrupting things in so many ways, of course, and not just poetry books. It sounds so superficial to bring it down to your poetry book. But for example, the structural edits took place in the meeting room behind me at the far back there, but Maggie wasn't there. She was in MIQ, propped up on a bed with John next to her with headphones on. She's grinning from ear to ear, very happy to chat with us, but she was in MIQ, and Hypatia was with me, weren't you? You were a bit amazed, and the shot went on Maggie with her hair in all directions, and that was the structural edit. So that sort of gives an idea of where we were at with that. And then, of course, the launch was delayed from last year to this year, and now, you know, we're not in the bookshop we thought we'd be in, but we are here, and the book is going to be launched. As they say, good things take time. So, Formica, I'm trying to use my new laptop and it's not rolling. Fucking shit. Okay, I'll use the down key, Sarah. Formica is a fantastic book with a brilliant title. Whenever I tell people about it, they're thrilled. They want to know about it, particularly women, I have to say, of a certain generation. Maggie's pushed the boat out, drafting and redrafting the manuscript, listening to all the feedback she got from us, and deleting poems and adding poems as she went. She even wrote one when she broke her wrist just recently, and in it went. So she's been shaping so many years of writing poetry into a book, and it's really worth what we've got in front of us. They're funny, sad, smart, naughty, thoughtful. I have to say, none of us here will be able to look at a Swiss ball or a chili in the same way again. Right. We are hugely proud of you, Maggie Rainey-Smith. Well done. I just want to quickly, it's true, Swiss balls, chilies. John, sorry. Okay. I just want to thank Hypatia and Sophie for their work on Formica. Both were Whitereya graduates last year and on work placement, and they returned to work on Maggie's book. So Hypatia typeset the poems and contributed to the editorial discussions, including the one in MIQ. Her commitment and passion for the project and to Maggie and her vision was lovely to see, and the poems look wonderful. So really well done. And Sophie created the amazing pink and green cover. So you think it's green, but then you turn it over and woohoo, does that look? Yeah, you can see pink. And it is amazing. And making that cover involved going on a field trip with Maggie and me around Wellington shops looking for Formica tables to photograph. Yes, that was Sophie doing that with her camera. You've got such a great eye, Sophie, and such amazing skills. Your career as a designer is only just beginning, and you've made an amazing start. So thank you for doing what you've done for us. This is not her first cover for the Cuba Press. Thanks Sarah and Paul at the back there, in the pink and the tall, for supporting Hypatia and Sophie in the design side of things and everything else they do to get the book, our books out into the world. Because we are a small team, as you can see. We've sort of inflated ourselves for the launch, but that's really just usually the three of us. Finally, I want to thank your husband, Maggie, John, who has been such a support, really, always, John, and not least doing the brilliant author photo at a moment's notice. Also thanking Rachel McAlpine and Fiona for endorsing the book, and now Fiona for being here today so graciously to launch Formica for us. Thank you, Fiona.
Wow.
Over to you.
Thank you, Fiona. Yay.
Woohoo! And I'll shut my phone. There we go. Ignore my speech.
Yeah, ta-ta, everybody. Yeah, so good to be here. Somehow or another, COVID or no COVID, here we are. And I'm sure I'd like to introduce you to Formica, which is a wonderful new book of poems by Maggie. You might already know Maggie, but just in case you don't, and I know that Mary has already made you very well aware of Maggie and her many talents, but I'll just go over it and say she's a novelist, a short story writer, and an essayist. And her splendid novels include About Turns, all about marching girls in the 1960s and those snippety snackety heels and the beat of the band. A witty, tender book called Turbulence, delivering Maggie's own wry, humorous voice, and Daughters of Messine, set in Greece and New Zealand, and now an internationally acclaimed bestseller. Wow, Maggie. So Maggie is a contemporary modern woman with her own lively curiosity who draws in detail after detail about the way we live and the way we lived before. And now here she is, a poet as well, providing us with over 40 beautifully, elegantly crafted poems that tell us the story of a life richly lived and still an adventure. Reading as it does, like a memoir, or also, in my mind, like a collection of abbreviated Alice Munro stories, each poem written with a poet's voice and air, but each telling a story. Narrative poems that draw on and gather up Maggie's own experiences. The Formica of the title is a particular building material, which we don't see much of these days, except in very old kitchens, but it was transformative. In the words of the title poem, when the wooden table was moved to the wash house, making room for oatmeal Formica and new linoleum, our maiden aunt, the one with flash clothes and stilettos, came for a Friday tea. You knew the family had grown up in the world. So practical too, as in the words of Renee, who wrote a glowing review on her Wednesday busk yesterday. Kids could spill drinks, adults could spill beer or wine. You could even put a hot pot on it for a second if you had to grab the baby. And now, 107 years since Formica first appeared, here it is, the title of Maggie's book, signalling that these poems are to be shared by women at the kitchen table, or everywhere, and with everyone. Because you could say Maggie's been everywhere, but her life started in Richmond, near Nelson, a place she evokes with tender recollection over and again in the poems. It was the place where she climbed Blue Mountains, queued at the War Memorial the Saturday matinee, drank milkshakes in the tea kiosk, watched friends get married one after the other at the Church of the Holy Trinity. But it was also a place where her POW father suffered quietly from the aftermath of war, drowning his sorrows on Anzac Day, the place where a beloved brother took his life. My heart was wrenched by the poem The Coroner's Report, as in, your stomach was sent unopened to the DSI, and your heart, the part we missed most, weighed 400 grams. This is naked honesty, a willingness to face facts of life with an unflinching eye that we find over and over in these poems, the truth of life. It's a truth found too in dance halls among those marching girls, in the barber shop, buying cinnamon seamless stockings at the local drapery. Nor does the writer flinch from love, sex, and the messier side of the body's functions, and that damn Swiss ball.
And chili.
Soon life will open out, and the writer becomes a typist in the city. And then she's off on the big adventure, the OE to the other side of the world, becomes a housemaid in Edinburgh, waitresses in Norway, goes to Haight-Ashbury, Cuba, and London. Well, Cuba, that's pretty kind of says it all, doesn't it, here at the Cuba Press, is where I gathered. It's the start of a lifelong journey. There are so many things to love in Formica, especially the deep tenderness of the late poems when Maggie and her husband John become grandparents to children in New Zealand and in South Korea, the latter place a setting for several poems. Two particular standouts for me. At Catherine's Bay, which is just below Maggie's home in Eastbourne, and remembering Catherine Mansfield's holiday sojourns at the bay. Water washes over the road at Eastbourne, while latte spume licks the heels of city jeeps. The southerly lift sand and little blue penguins invade the investment once were holiday homes where Catherine stayed. And what is not to love about an ode to a Kenwood food mixer? You, my trusty Kenwood, with your dough hook and your forever useful K-blade, your cream-beating heart of steel. God, I'd love to have written that poem. It's absolutely wonderful.
Thank you. Yeah.
And all of this in a gorgeously produced book from Cuba Press. Wow. Mary McCallum and Paul Stewart and Sarah Boland have enveloped the poems in a cover that looks like, well, just like,
It's beautiful.
Just looks just like Formica. The elegant kind transformed into a lovely to hold velvety feeling volume. I love this book. I'm proud to be launching it. Wherever you are, please raise a toast to Maggie Rainey-Smith and Formica and make it your very next purchase, please.
Thank you, Fiona. Wow.
Cheers.
I'm so honoured.
Yeah, thank you. Cheers. Cheers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow, it's my turn to speak. Oh, look,
You stand up, you stand here.
Okay, I'm
I'm
totally overwhelmed by the joyful encouragement and support I've had for this book. It's been my dream always to be a poet, but I became a novelist, and then suddenly tonight I am launched as a poet, and I have this huge debt of gratitude to so many people. So I don't know where to start, but I've got my phone here so I don't forget people. So I wanted to say, first of all, kia ora, annyeong haseyo, and kalamera to all my friends who might be watching. Thank you to everyone who's logged on to support this celebration. I wish I could see you, and in the words of my beautiful granddaughter in Korea, bogo sipio, which is I am missing you all. So I'll start by thanking Fiona for that beautiful, beautiful launch speech. It just means such a lot. When I joined the New Zealand Society of Authors as a hopeful writer, I met Dame Fiona Kidman. I met my heroes, and Fiona is one of those people. She's like a mighty role model for all women. Here she is in the time of COVID. Nothing was stopping her getting here. We are so grateful. And I just think the Wellington writing community is amazing, and I'm so grateful to have these heroes as now friends and supporters. The next person I have to thank is Mary, because without her, this collection, it wouldn't have happened. And I talked with Lynn Freeman for Standing Room Only, and she said, oh, you know, you must have chosen and written this poem. I said, no, that is down to the talent and the foresight of Mary as a publisher, working out which poems, where to start and where to finish, and I'm so grateful. The other thing with Mary was we were reading. The first thing in MIQ, I was like, oh no, they were coming on Zoom. I was terrified. And Mary started the whole structural edit with telling me all the things that were great. I was terrified. And then slowly by slowly we picked and unpicked. And what I loved was the opportunity that Mary gave me. Look, Maggie, you've used this word twice. Can you find me another word? It's such a gift to a writer, and you did that with Daughters too. So yeah, I'm like grateful forever. So I've got to click my screen. Okay, so at the Cuba Press and all who sail, and there it sounds like a ship. I sat with Sarah, we sat for a whole afternoon, did edits, and then Mary had another look at them, of course, but that was okay. I've done that with Mary with the Eastbourne anthology. And then Paul, I think of him as like the ballast in the ship. Is that right? Yeah, keeping everything going, and so calm and so warm. You come into the Cuba Press and there's this lovely, warm young man who, you know, yeah, so amazing. Then, of course, huge gratitude to Hypatia. What a name, Hypatia Orchard. She should have been with me on my Greek novel. So Hypatia's done the typesetting, and truly the book is just lovely to hold and look at, and it's laid out beautifully. And then, of course, Sophie Miller. I mean, this is probably my favourite ever book. The colours, it's just fulfilled my everything that I imagine. You know, you have a little vision of your book cover might be. So, wow, thank you. Now, I still have people to thank. Oh, okay. I have to thank Fiona for her fabulous endorsement on the back of the book, but also Rachel McAlpine. So a big shout out, because Rachel, I know you would have been here. Rachel's staying away to protect us. She's just been around people, I think, who've had COVID, so she thought she'd stay away. Rachel is another one of my heroes, and it was her book, How to Be Old published by Cuba Press, that inspired me that a collection about an older woman's life and stories would be successful. And also Rachel and Meg. Now, the other two people I have to mention, dear friends from 1998, Jo Thorpe and Philippa Christmas, we became poet buddies, and we've stayed poet buddies since 1998 in Greg O'Brien's course. And through Jo, I was at a birthday party of Jo's and I danced the night away with Rachel McAlpine, and we both love writing and dancing, and we bonded, and she formed this online poetry group, which was so affirming, with young people and a wide range of poets. So these are people that I just have to be thankful for having in my life. And then I want to say, my sister, Caroline, I hope you're watching. Thank you for letting me use my poem about you, my family. You don't want to be in a family with a poet. John's been very kind with 2 poems he's allowed me to use. My darling sister, of whom I am incredibly proud. Now, my first poem says that I was the first in our family to go to university. My sister has a doctorate, so I just want to say that she's outclassed me. But I was the first to go to university. And then a big shout out to my family in Seoul, who, having cross-cultural grandchildren, has enriched my life so much. So, 안녕하세요, 보고싶어요, 사랑해. I love you all so much. And I miss you. And to my great local granddaughter, Sienna Liv, who's inspired 2 or 3 poems, I love you and I wish you were here. Okay. And then, of course, the last person, and the person who supports me through everything, is John. And being married to a wannabe poet and a writer is not an easy job. And I love him dearly. And he's always there for me. Thank you. That's me.
Oh, sweetheart. That's amazing. Thank you. I think what we're doing now is Maggie's going to sign some books.
Okay.
So if you haven't bought a book, you can. You just click on the link below. It's very simple, straightforward. It won't test anybody, I don't think. So just go ahead, because
Go, please.
It's worth a read. And she's going to. Oh, you're going to read some poems.
Well, have we got time?
Yeah.
Have we got time?
Yeah, do that. And then while people are buying them.
Oh, please. Yeah.
Go.
I better put my glasses on. I'm going to read the title poem because, Fiona speaks so lovingly of it. And it's called Formica. Okay, Formica. When the wooden table was moved to the wash house, making room for oatmeal Formica and new linoleum, our maiden aunt, the one with flash clothes with stilettos, came for a Friday tea of fish and chips, as after all we were Catholics. Not store-bought, but beer-battered fresh fish, hand-cut potatoes. She tattooed her tread across the floor from table to hallway door. Her 20 quid pay packet scandalous, according to my dad, with her unmarried and nothing but clothes to spend it on. She was my hero, going over 60 miles per hour on the Stoke Straight in her green Morris Minor, a St. Christopher magnet on the dashboard. That old wooden table, now in the wash house, holds the secret of boot polish spilled in the copper while the ham was cooking. Legend would have this was the best ever Christmas ham. Thankfully, never to be repeated, but never forgotten either. Witness to the pots of pea carried carefully to the toilet, the bloody rags soaking in salt in the stone tub. Their bulkiness, both irritant and arousal when riding to school. The table was painted green, then covered with an old blanket. No collapsible ironing board, Mother used a lemonade bottle to roll pastry, and she had biceps that I now earn at Swiss ball. When the steam iron arrived, we put a glass out to catch rainwater. An awe of the word distilled, and where the iron drank only this. And who can I tell about Mother's Day, what we bought? An electric fry pan that meant no coal or kindling. By then the painted table was in the wash house, and a half-size apple green fridge heard luxury, but never fully replaced the meat safe where the mutton rested. In the hot water cupboard, the boiler growled until it blew, spilling boiling water across roof tiles into the guttering. Now my middle-class book club friends laugh at the very idea of kitchenware for Mother's Day. News to me?
Yeah.
Okay, so this one's called News to Me. She explained hospital corners to me during the Edinburgh Festival at the North British Hotel. I was training as a chambermaid. It was 1972 and I stripped the bed in which John Houston, the father of Angelica, had just slept the night, although I barely heard of him. A couple, French I think, arrived late one morning and slept all day and all night like lovers should, except I couldn't clean the room. I was only 21 and didn't know that love should last this long, so I knocked several times, anxious to utilise my hospital corners. No reply, and all this was news to me, a Kiwi on her OE, eager to please. I scrubbed floors on my knees and other unoccupied bedrooms. The vacuum was almost bigger than I was, and a thoughtful guest stopped to unravel the lengthy cord I nearly vacuumed over. I was mortified beyond belief when a very posh woman tore a strip off me for throwing the newspaper into the rubbish. That strewn newspaper on a lover's bed was for folding, for rereading, and not for rubbish, was news to me, a Kiwi on her OE. I lasted through the festival and learned a lot about literary types who use their bedrooms as if they were private dining halls. I soon learned to leave lovers in their bedrooms undisturbed and not to be disturbed by the things I found in their beds.
Very nice. Gorgeous. Right, signing time.
Okay, lovely. I've got my special pen, which my family in Korea, Tom and Mina. I have my two special pens that you gave me. I'll use them both.
Right. There's your stack.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
How lovely. How lovely.
Here we go. Okay. The first one.
Oh, for Justin Haggett. Thank you, Justin. Wow. How kind, how lovely.
Yeah, just so we got maybe very close, isn't she?
Here we go. It's Justin. Thank you, Justin.
So I'm just showing the cover again.
Oh, and Tanya. Thank you, lovely Tanya. With great admiration.
Yeah. Okay.
Tanya, I just wobbled the N in your name as Mary knocked the bubbles glass. Forgive me.
It's a glass. So, it looks like Tanya still. So some people have asked for their books to be signed, and if you want that, you can let us know, or let Good Books know by tomorrow if you've bought a copy and it hasn't been signed already. Because Maggie, you're going to go in tomorrow to do some signing as well.
Yes, I am.
Nice.
Yeah, I've been invited in, so that's exciting.
Wonderful.
It's lovely. Oh, okay, Robin Sherinsky. Robin, thank you, Robin.
Some more actually, a bit more. Hey, John,
Wow, that's so nice.
Do you want to snap some clips of this signing?
Sandra, oh Sandra, hello. If you're watching, hello Sandra.
It's very close, isn't it? And no way to get it really away. So just move it back a wee bit. There you go. That's okay. You hold it about there. That's all right. Okay. Maggie, have you really shown everyone your nails? Do you just want
I will.
So we've got some comments here.
To match my book. That's lovely, thank you. Oh, wow. No, that's it. That's it. We've done.
No, you've got this one, and you've got these ones.
Oh,
Did you do Anne's?
Oh no, Anne's no.
And you did Natalie's?
Oh no, Natalie.
It's
No,
everything
I missed
highlight.
it. Sorry. Oh, thank you, Natalie. Wow, class of 2001.
Oh, is it giving information away? Okay, sorry. You can't see it. I just showed it really fast. Yeah, it's quite a lot of information. Okay. Right. I'm going to say something. Oh, yeah, there's some comments coming through. I can't. Can you click where the comments are? You know where they? Oh, chat. Maggie, we're missing all the comments. Look.
Oh, how lovely.
There we go. Mia Farley. Good to be here. Looking forward to the readings from Formica.
Thank you, Mia.
Rosemary Wildblood. Speed Bonnie book like a bird on the wing.
Oh, lovely. And Philippa.
Philippa Wary. What a lovely elite crew. Congrats, Maddie, and all the support team, including John. Looking forward to hearing Dame Fiona's launch speech and hopefully some poems.
Oh,
Sandra
lovely.
Arnold. Huge congrats, Maggie. Vivian Ball. Congratulations, Maggie. Wishing you much success. The book looks amazing.
Wow.
Sarah Gaetanos, glad to join you for this launch. Congratulations, Maggie.
Wow.
Alexandra Baum, congratulations, Maggie. More orders from Trish Louis, Caroline Thomas, Jackie Davis, Kerry Griffiths for the
Wow,
Bulgarian,
I meant
Paula
to
Morris.
mention Jackie is a great supporter of my poetry. Yeah, I've mentioned her in the book though.
That's good. There's a
I
lot.
thanked her in the
And
book,
then
yeah.
Paula Morris, congratulations.
Oh, thank you,
Maggie.
Paula. That's
You
really
do.
nice. And
Where
then
are you up to?
I've done Natalie and I haven't done Anne.
Yeah.
She was over
You
Anne.
did Sandra
Yeah, I've done Sandra.
and
yeah.
Manchester. And Alexandra. And that's all the ones who wanted to be signed. So thank you, everybody.
That's mine. Yeah, thanks.
Nearly there. She's doing a lovely job with her pen. Nice. So hold it up and show.
It's really hard. When you go to Caroline's just sent a message. So I'll just
And the last one,
another one.
Alexandra.
Oh, how lovely.
Trisky, Alexandra.
Oh, yes.
The next one you see. Where are your signs?
Alexandra through you too.
Oh,
Yes, yes.
Sandra, hi, Alexandra. That's really okay.
Your lovely course on the meanwhile, wasn't it?
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Hi,
That's what
Alexandra.
you've done.
We can't see. Oh, that
I'll
was
send you
inside.
an email tomorrow.
Yes, yes. She thought you need to be on Facebook.
We'll get you on there.
No, I don't do it.
No.
Well,
Facebook, doesn't like Facebook. You took
Yeah.
place, some of us. Just straight there for us. A little bit of food. It was nice, eh?
Can I go off?
Wow, that's so nice. What a treat.
Right.
Are we finished?
I think so. I think Eamon calls the shots, but you say goodbye to everybody.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, thank you anyone and everyone who turned up and the lovely messages, and thank you to everyone. Wow. I was kind of really anxious. It was just been the loveliest experience. Thank you. Okay. Love to the souls of the family. Wow. Very thank you. Honestly, I talked about our journey together. Wow.
Many years, right?
Been
I know,
amazing.
I thought it was 20 and then